All right, Austin, we're live and having a lot of fun this evening, let me tell you. Coming up in about 9 minutes, we're going to air a 50-minute piece on Bohemian Grove. First, some of the actual rituals. Then we're going to get into some of the locals and what they say and what they know about the Bohemian Grove, as well as some more of the history on it and some of the maps and other layouts of this occult compound, supposedly controlled by so-called conservatives. Now, we have mainstream news articles like the 2nd of August, 99, movers, shakers from politics go Bohemian, annual Sonoma meeting draws Bush's, Kissinger, Powell, and Gingrich, by Suzanne Bohan of the Sacramento Bee mainstream newspaper. And I have a file here off the web from these mainstream newspapers, literally an inch and a half thick, dozens of articles. We have photographs from the University of Berkeley, which is the public relations arm of the Bohemian Grove, where they admit that all these former presidents and current presidents and people that are about to be president go there. About a week and a half ago, right before they announced Dick Cheney as George Bush's VP running mate, I guess now 2 weeks ago, they announced on the Monday before the Tuesday that the decision had been partially made and that George Bush Jr. had been consulting with George Herbert Walker Bush, the former president, his father, at Bohemian Grove. That was reported on CNN, but it was innocuous. It was no big deal. It's just some meeting with Colin Powell and many, many others out in the middle of the wilderness, an hour and a half north of San Francisco. It's in a huge gorge, and we infiltrated. We don't have time to show you all of the videotape from our hidden cameras infiltrating in, but we will show you the ancient Babylon mystery religion rites that we're developing there. Now, I personally am a Christian, but I've always done secular shows on TV and on my syndicated radio programs. But I do find it curious that so-called conservative leaders, and some Democrats as well, and the heads of industry, regardless of party, and academia and the media, travel to the Grove for 2 weeks each year for the summer fire festivals and the summer encampment of the Bohemian Club, to use the actual technical term they use. Channel 4 independent British television World of Wonder was already doing a documentary film of myself and others, a 4-hour special to air early next year or late this year on nationwide in the United Kingdom. Will probably air next year sometime. I would just tell the folks when they're running the board that I'm hearing whatever you want. It's all right, though. Kind of had something a little bit different tonight. Normally, the great show before us is in the main studio, and we appreciate their help tonight. They were in here before us. We were being nice to Access Television and letting them have the Ritters were letting them have the main studio, so the Ritters came in here and did their show before, so we had about 30-second setup time before we came on. Look, this is a really, really serious issue and a really, really serious topic. Elites all throughout history want to do something that's out of control, that's across the bounds, that breaks the taboo. You look at Stanley Kubrick's last film, Eyes Wide Shut. It's about occultic rites and weird sexual orgies and satanic activities. Well, the key is this has been going on for hundreds of years, if not thousands, in England. And Stanley Kubrick lived in England and was basically repulsed by a lot of this, and that's what the film shows. We look at the Babylonians and the Aztecs and the Romans, the human sacrifice, the murders, the gladiatorial games, crucifying people, boiling them in oil, ripping their flesh off. I mean, you or I wouldn't do that because we're somewhat normal, we would think. But normal is all perspective. And you have to know that the Bush family and others are very old families, very, very wealthy. They didn't make their money in Texas through oil, as their propaganda says. And as I attack the Bushes for being some of the highest level members of the Bohemian Grove, it's now out that Henry Kissinger has been the high priest in past years, where they do these mock human sacrifices, and some say for real. But the Bushes are at the #2 camp. There are over 100 camps inside that consist of palatial manors and log cabins built into the mountains and the hills. I mean, this is some sick stuff, and I really don't even know how to address a story like this. It's so incredible, so bizarre, A lot of this footage, of course, well, all of it is from hidden cameras. Some of it's at angles at times. This is not the Blair Witch Project. This is not a hoax. This is real. Mainstream news articles are all over Infowars.com. In the Bohemian Grove section, we have streaming video there for you, though it's not as high quality as what you're about to see. And it's just massive, the amount of evidence we have there. The Chancellor of Germany, 3 chancellors ago, Helmut Schmidt, admitted in his autobiography that it was a wonderful place that was important for his career. It's international. And that they did have druidic rites that he enjoyed. So we have the power elite, or at least the high-level minions of the power elite. They go there to basically be chosen. If you're a member of the Trilateral Commission or the Council on Foreign Relations, chances are you're a member of Bohemian Grove, the Bohemian Club, the summer encampment. And that's what you're about to see. We've got 2 hours and 15 minutes from inside the 4 hours we were there. We also have about 8+ hours talking to locals, shots from outside the Grove. I'm probably going to air 4 or 5 hours of it unedited for you in the near future on a tape program. So just keep scanning around. I'm going to make a professionally produced documentary film. I was making a new Waco tape, but just don't have time to do that right now. I have to get this Bohemian Grove information out. So keep it locked into channels 10, 11, and 16. In fact, I may even air some of this video on the religious channel, because channel 11, because a lot of Christians and others and Jews and you name it need to know, and Muslims, how sickening this truly is. And even if you're an atheist, I mean, if you're an atheist, would you let your neighbor walk your dog or babysit your children if they were sacrificing humans in effigy to some 45-foot stone owl god and going, "Oh, great owl of Bohemia," which is Moloch, 13 times the Old Testament, the most accursed demon? On my website, Infowars.com, we have the program that was given out to the thousands that watched, and the 100 high priests and others going through these in black cloaks and red cloaks and silver cloaks with hoods and wizard points. This is Babylon Mystery Religion, but in their own photo from last year's Bohemian Grove meeting, Demonic Frolic, there's a body burning in the flame, and then they pinned in here with airbrush a little demon named PJ that looks along the Hieronymus Bosch, the German artist style of Visions of Hell. But it's, again, all up on Infowars.com. We'll put that up throughout the evening for you. And Mike, I appreciate the great job you and Raymond and Max and everybody have done tonight, but there's no need to get a close-up of this, because we're going to have to go to that tape in 45 seconds, and we're going to be able to air it all tonight. But that's basically about it. Again, I'm going to do a long 5-hour tape show with about an hour of discussion and then 4 hours of raw footage for you in the near future, just of what goes on in this place. Truth is stranger than fiction. It's hard for me to understand why the elite behaves this way, but again, for them, they get off on it. It's something different. They're doing something cutting edge. And for predators, and literally they are predators attempting to disarm us, these are the people that want your guns, it's a perfect religion for them. It was a perfect religion in Babylon, in Egypt, in Rome, in the Aztec and Mayan kingdoms, and the Toltec kingdoms. It's the same evil nature we see over and over again. And I guess religion fits the type of person. People pick religion for what type of people they are. And they've picked one hell of a religion. Let's go ahead and go to this tape, and God bless everybody. I'll be back tomorrow live from 4:30 to 6 on Channel 10. Bohemian Grove, here it is.
It is the best and most comprehensive book on Bohemian Grove, and it's written by Mike Hanson, my old camera guy.
Mike Hanson Archives.
Did you ready to write?
Starting to like it. You like that little camera?
Yeah.
I know, but it's about you and your mission, so fork it over.
Okay, let's go.
It's me.
Up at the sea, and the water was completely still and green, and very close to the gateway to Bohemian Grove. First set of gates. I got him with a camera coming over here, guy, or the...
Be careful.
Yeah, let him go.
We're in. Can you talk?
Well, we're inside the Bohemian Grove. We're actually not inside yet, Mike.
Well, we're in the parking lot. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is the same redwood. They're all the same. They're actually, well, I think there are three kinds of redwoods. There's the Sequoia and the Sierra. Really
Here comes the thing, Mike.
and there's the coast redwood.
Yeah.
And then there's a Chinese redwood, and there's one or two of the Chinese redwoods somewhere in the grove.
I remember when I drove from Tulare and went up to Sequoia National Park, all they had up there was the sequoias.
Yeah. Aren't they the biggest? Oh, they are. They're the biggest, like, living thing, I think, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they're incredibly large. There's one up there that you can drive a car on top of one, you know.
On top of it,
Yeah.
lying down?
Yeah. That you can actually.
Well, they used to have the one you could drive.
That's also there. That's up there. Boy, it's nice when they do really hit you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
How much did the road cost?
This thing.
No, the road.
The rope.
The road. The road. Did you
Oh,
buy?
that.
Oh, road.
Oh, rope. It was 88. Yeah, I thought you said rope.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought rope and rope. Can't hear anything with this wind. And look at this thing. Seen some years. Pretty nice. Actually.
This is the oldest one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Other than maybe that little red one. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Thanks a lot for finding my car.
Oh, no problem.
I think when you go to heaven, they have buses like this. Thank you. Go ahead. Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, is there another one coming?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
See you.
Your father visited and all that?
Yeah, yeah. So that Marty thing was like... Close back in the corner right over there.
Tell you what, Mike.
Like another shot.
Remember, this was a hidden camera, ladies and gentlemen. There in the lower left-hand corner of your screen is the 3,000-plus-year-old idol. That is Moloch, the owl of death, worshipped in Babylon, and they actually get into that during their little ceremony that they have once it gets dark. But right over there in your lower left-hand corner of the screen with our hidden camera, there's Moloch, 40, 50 feet tall, very loving individual. Children were thrown to it throughout Babylonian days and even into Western Europe and into England with the Druids. Ah, Moloch, sacrifice your children. There's 13 references in the Old Testament against Moloch as the most evil of all. But don't worry, your so-called conservative politicians worship Moloch. It's no big deal, nothing to worry about. But to be absolutely serious, we've gone ahead and stilled the hidden camera video for you right there in the middle of your screen in the lower third quadrant. You can see Moloch up against large redwood trees. And again, the idol is roughly 45 to 50 feet tall. The legends have been coming out of that area of Northern California for over 120 years. That's because they've been doing it for 120 years, and you're about to see the ritual. By the way, it's public knowledge. Spy Magazine, People Magazine, many other publications, such as The Economist, have done reports about how wonderful the Bohemian Grove is, and certainly there's some druidic rites, they say, but again, not a problem. This goes directly to the character of these so-called conservative politicians. So-called liberals go there as well, but it's predominantly, well, Ronald Reagan when he was governor, and of course after he was president. You don't go while you're president. People like Newt Gingrich. There's also photos that are out even at the University of Berkeley of Richard Nixon being there when he was vice president. They all go, and I don't even get into this whole genre of so-called occult devil worship, but it's real, people. We infiltrated this thing, and you're about to see some of the ceremony, the cremation of care, which is a mock human sacrifice. So for all the good conservative so-called Christians out there being misled by phony conservatives, they're all part of the Illuminati, people. They really believe in it, and they really worship Moloch. Moloch is real. It's in the Bible. It is the mystery Babylon religion of Revelations. Hey, that's not me. That's the Bible, and that's what these politicians are worshiping. Moloch. They would throw their children into a fiery pit before Moloch, also known as Malak, and one of his brother gods, goddess gods of Baal and others. So just totally disgusting. We have built a giant section on Infowars.com with university articles, mainstream news stories about Bohemian Grove, where they admit and politicians brag, from former chancellors of Germany to prime ministers to presidents of this country, that the decisions predominantly are made at the Bohemian Grove. Just unbelievable. We have giant sections. We have photographs. We have streaming video up on Infowars.com. This is a serious story. The people that control the media are members of the Bohemian Grove, 2,000 members strong, And this is a total takeover of our country. This is a way to compromise politicians. This is open Babylonian demon worship. Now, even if you're say, an atheist or an agnostic or a humanist, you can see the danger of this. I mean, what type of individuals are these? This goes to their credibility, to their character. And this is something that all Christians should really be concerned about. Moloch of the Bible, the demon owl that they sacrifice children to, and the Bushes admit that they've been to this globalist retreat where decisions are made about how to run our lives, the heads of business, academia, you name it. By the way, this footage from these hidden cameras has been never before seen. Many have tried and failed to get in and get out, just to write articles. One photo is known to have been released that was not released by the Grovers, by the Bohemian Club members. Every few years, they'll release a few pictures of a few presidents sitting around a table eating dinner. My friends, this is one example of what really goes on your screen. Occultic Luciferian rites that are ancient and have their roots in Babylon. I never thought I'd be on the air covering something like this, but this is a bombshell story. Think about the bizarreness. And it's been going on since 1872. Now, the camera, our hidden camera, was at an angle in the bag because we were being bumped into in the large crowd of, well, Faustian revelers. What you're seeing is a procession with the sacrifice on the back of a wagon coming across the lake. Well, they call it a lake, I call it a large pond. And then they disappeared into the shadows around the corner and had black sheets down across the road. And then a boatman brings the sacrifice across. And just remember, the videotape is at an angle. You will then see the high priest and others engage in their worship of the owl. O great Babylon, your beauty, goodly Tyre. Well, research the history of Tyre, and you'll find out that human sacrifice, the criminal leaders, there was nothing goodly about it other than elitist oppression. And I guess that's what this is a celebration of with the history of Bohemian Grove. So here is the ceremony, and we'll have a larger, more expansive program for you in the near future with all of the footage. One more small point before the ceremony. Notice the red, the black robes, and the high priest in silver with red capes streaked in green. My friends, I've talked to occult experts. This is absolute Babylon mystery religion, where they sacrifice people to dark idols. Moloch, the owl god, is in your Bible again. And regardless of what your religious beliefs, world leaders should not be acting in this sick fashion.
Temple. Let all within the grove be reverent before him. Lift up your heads, O ye trees, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting spires. For behold, here is Bohemian shrine, and holy are the pillars of this house. Weaving spiders, come not here. Hail, Bohemians! With the ripple of waters, song of birds, such music as inspires the sinking soul, do we invite you into midsummer's joy. Sky above is blue, sown with stars. The forest floor is heaped with fragrant drift. Evening's cool kiss is yours. The campfires glow. The birth of roses and your dawn. Shake off your sorrows with the city's dust and cast to the winds the cares of life. Let memory bring back the well-loved names of gallant friends who knew and loved this grove. Dear boon companions of the long ago. Aye, let them join us in this wisdom. Not a place be empty in our midst. Oh, beauty's vassals, who hold in this gray autumn of the world her springtime in your heart, attend our tale. Gather, ye forest folk, and cast your spell over these mortals. Touch their world-blind eyes with fairy unseen. Open their eyes of candy. Follow the memories of yesterday and seal the gates of sorrow. It is a dream, and yet not all a dream. Joel Kerr and all of his works are but a dream. As vanished Babylon and goodly Tyre, so shall they also vanish. But the wilding rose blows on the broken battlements of Tyre, and walks rend the stones of Babylon. For beauty is eternal, and we bow to beauty everlasting. For lasting happiness, return to one alone, and she surrounds you now. Great nature, refuge of the weary heart, and only balm for breasts that have been bruised. Ye have cool hands for every fevered brow, and gentlest silence for the troubled soul. The counsels are most wise. She healeth well, having such ministries as calm and sleep. She is ever faithful. Other friends may fail, but seek ye her in any quiet place. Smiling, she will rise and give to you her kiss. So must ye come as children. Little children that believe nor ever doubt her beauty and her faith, nor deem her tenderness can change or die. Bohemians and priests, the desperate call of heavy hearts is answered. By the power of your fellowship, dull care is slain. His body has been brought yonder from the funeral pyre to the joyous pipings of a funeral march. Our funeral pyre awaits the corpse of care.
Now watch that screen. Remember, the camera had fallen over to an angle in its hidden position in the bag under my arm. There's the boatman symbolizing death. He was wearing black and had his face painted up like a skull, like many of the other satanic participants in this ancient form of Moloch worship from Babylon. Now he's coming across, again, that's the surface of the water at an angle there, and he had a body bound at the front of the boat, at the bow. And then he delivers it to the Mystery Babylon initiates for the sacrifice. You're going to hear it beg for its life. Is it real? Probably not. Of course, it's probably someone's being killed in effigy. The fact is, Moloch is mentioned dozens of times in the Bible, 13 plus in the Old Testament. as being just ultimately evil. And here we have it as it's being delivered. It's just really sick that this is what's in the minds of the establishment. They'd come from all over the world to be involved in this. It just shows where their minds are at. Death has delivered its quarry now. And if you go to my website, Infowars.com, I had the program they handed out for the, quote, ceremony, and it shows a skeleton burning down in the bottom of the fire. Also a little demon at the bottom, nicknamed PJ. Yes, these are your world leaders.
Thou, thus buried across the shadowy tide, in all the ancient majesty of death, thou arch enemy of beauty, not for thee the tended tribute or the restful train. Fire shall have its will of thee, and all the winds make merry with thy dust. Bring fire! Shall we burn thee once again this night? And in the flames that eat thine effigy, we shall read the sign, Midsummer sets us free. Ye shall burn me once again!
Ye fools and priests, I spit upon your fire.
Prince of all mortal wisdom, Owl of Bohemia, we beseech thee, grant us thy counsel. Be gone, detested care, be gone. Once more, we banish thee. Begone, dull care. Fire shall have its will of thee. Begone, dull care. And all the winds make merry with thy dust. Hail, fellowship's eternal flame. Once again, midsummer sets us free.
Gentlemen, we were there in person. Those were actual crosses that they were burning. Crosses. This was just completely sick. They brought in the image of a body and burned it. And on my website, Infowars.com, we have the night's, again, Luciferic revelry program where they show a skeleton burning in the fire that they've sacrificed. Right there on the altar. You can look at it for yourself. And then a little demon named PJ. Again, these are your supposed leaders. What do you think about them? And this is just the kickoff. We're told the security only increases. This is the week before the presidents and people come in, and it only gets worse. Now, during the initial burning of the sacrifice, we had the camera at a particularly bad angle. Now you can see a little bit clearer there on your screen the mock human sacrifice to Moloch. Of course, they're your conservative leaders, nothing to worry about, all in good fun. If anyone else behaved like this, we'd be raving kook weirdo
It's
cultists.
Mike Hanson here, your Facebook buddy and YouTube friend. As a lot of y'all know, I was the producer for Alex Jones and Jeff Davis, Steve Lane, George Humphrey, and a lot of those other guys from about 1995 till 2010. And what we're doing is we're busy trying to get all these shows that we did, over 2,200 shows that we did on Access TV, uploaded to YouTube and other social media spots on the internet, getting them off of the old VHF VSH tapes and transferred over to computer, which is not easy. I've hired some people to help me. I've bought a bunch of equipment, and as a lot of y'all know, I'm not computer savvy whatsoever. I dread the day that computers ever was invented, but I'm having to go and do all this because if we don't, these tapes are going to be ruined forever and the history is going to be lost, because these shows that we did back in the 90s were very historical in my opinion, and I think they will be. And a lot of predictions were made on these shows for the future, and I want to get them up. So please subscribe to Mike Hanson Archives on YouTube, Hanson Archives, and my new one is Waco Archives, which anything we did with Waco, you know, we rebuilt the church out there in 1999, and I was friends with a lot of the survivors in the mid-90s, and all those interviews that I can put together, we're going to put on Waco Archives. So I sure appreciate y'all. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm putting this in between some of the old shows, and if you want to write us, I wrote a book called Bohemian Grove, Cult of Conspiracy, where Alex Jones and I snuck into the Bohemian Grove. I'm funding this operation. If you send me $25 to 901 St. Joseph Street in Gonzales, Texas, I will send you a signed copy of my book, and the money will go to either I give all the money that comes from my book to the Branch Davidian Church, or to help them every year. This year we didn't get to go up there because of the virus, or I put it into putting these tapes on YouTube. Of course, I have to fund a lot of this myself because that don't go a long way. I just got a box of new books in, so if you'd like to do it, you can also call 830-672-3089 and put it on a credit card. All right, my tacos are here, so I'll talk to you later.
It's okay if the so-called conservative leaders act like this. The locals, well, we'll talk to them later. Many of them don't have too big a problem with it. They're not sure what happens there in the local churches. Well, who knows? They might even be joining in. We're not sure. Chances are, though, they just have no idea what's happening in their town. How you doing, sir?
Okay.
Camp Meeker? Yeah. Oh. I'm Alex Jones. I make documentaries. I'm just curious, what do you think about Bohemian Grove?
I used to work there.
You used to work there?
Yeah.
And now you work at Camp Meeker?
No, I don't work. Yeah, I live in Camp Meeker.
Oh, you live there?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Did you ever watch the cremation of care?
No. No.
What'd you do at the...
I just worked there.
But, I mean, you never saw them march around the red robes?
No.
Oh, really? That didn't go on?
But, yeah, I gotta go.
Okay. Thanks. Before we talk to more of the locals, let's go back before we had tried to get into the Grove to some of our strategy planning with the British from Channel 4 World of Wonder.
Whoever got the photo got it from across here. There's the shrine where they did their little business in the clan outfits. Here's the stage. Here's the stage. And then move down. Over here to the shrine. Owl's nest. This is a survey of Bohemian Grove in 4 parts. The pages are a little big on the edges, so I had to overlay them. Here's where they do a lot of their wicked behavior, and then right here at the shrine, the cremation of care. That's where they burn the... Man, I need to draw a map, our own map, because I can't carry this in on the operation with me. Listen to some of these names. 3-3, Dragon, Sleepy Hollow, Lost Angels. I mean, it's just bizarre. Red Fire, River Lyre, Roaring. Listen to all these names. I'm not going to zoom in on those. And here's the basic map. I want that repeatedly squared. You're ready to get me out of jail, baby. You got the bank card, right? Here's some more stuff, Mike.
Do you worry for Alex, Violet?
I do. I just, because Alex gets so impassioned by what he's doing that sometimes I'm afraid that he might be a little bit, reckless or maybe a little bit too fearless. I worry about Alex time in the same car. And, I worry about him sometimes when he's late getting back from the studio and he doesn't give me a call. I mean, he is putting himself out there, but I think the fact that he's in the public eye as much as he is really, keeps him safe to a certain degree. So maybe something like this is, people might not necessarily know where he is right now, people that listen to the radio or whatever, so it's maybe a little bit more risky, and it's a little creepy at night up here in the woods, But he's a brave man. I wish he had a gun, with him. I wish that we were able to carry guns or to be armed to protect ourselves, that's all.
And do you think that Alex's temperament...
what mannerisms or demeanor he thinks will get us in there and not... and will keep us from being noticed. But frankly, with these cameras, we could sneak around in the woods all night long and catch these guys and come up on their campsites while they're enjoying themselves and get it all. So I'm going to disappear into those woods, and who knows what I'm going to get now. If I decide I come walking up going, yes, well, Wilford Johnson's Occidental Maximel Petroleum Grand Mercantile. Then I can act like that, and then if some security guard or some valet says, who are you? I'll go, how dare you, sniveling twit. And have you removed immediately. Fetch me especially poached eggs with a croissant of small livyworts sprinkled about the... You don't know what livyworts are, how dare you? You wretched fool. No, I won't be like that. But...
No, you wouldn't act like that.
I don't remember. He said it was just a small building. And he walks inside, and there were banks of TV screens. Did the lawyer tell you anything about those?
Nope, not last night. We only met him for half an hour last night.
I mean, but you've gotten... People have recommended him to you?
Mm-hmm. Mary Moore.
So he can be trusted? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's probably one of them, probably running around out there in the red hood.
What about the boat? Weren't you all thinking about?
No, I was telling them that if there's any waterway into there, we could get a boat and drive up in there. Are there any waterways in there?
There's the Russian River goes by. The Russian River is close because they go swimming. Some of the global elitists apparently.
Well, that's it, guys. Let's go rent a boat. That's the way, so I won't have to tromp 3 or 4 miles through redwoods and get shot by some rancher because I walked on his dairy farm.
And you're definitely not dangerous. You're not going to do anything stupid this weekend.
Well, I mean, dangerous to what? Dangerous to myself? Are these people dangerous? They certainly may be, but I'm completely nonviolent when it comes to just going out there and trying to get the information. That's what I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm an activist first and foremost, but also a journalist in that I'll make some jokes and speculate occasionally because I'm a radio talk show host. But when I say something that I believe, I have to be on target about it. But dangerous? I'm definitely dangerous to corrupt bureaucrats and their financial bosses that would like to control the American people on the planet.
But not in a violent way.
Not in a violent way. And for anybody that doubts we're in global government now or entering it, you've now got this UN criminal court. They're saying if 60 countries ratify it, then it doesn't matter if America doesn't sign on. Kofi Annan claims he has power to enter any country anytime he wishes. We've all read that, again, and seen it on television. So I'm fighting this global government. And long before global government came out in the open, in the last 4 or 5 years, they were conditioning the public that anyone that talks about global government is a kook, a weirdo, a terrorist, a racist. And now they're out on the nightly news saying global government's here, you better accept it, we're getting rid of juries all across the planet. The IMF, the World Bank, basically runs things now. The WTO decides what you can buy and sell and trade on the international market. But see, they've preconditioned us that it doesn't exist. They've preconditioned us that anybody that talks about this stuff and who is against it is a kook or a racist because it doesn't exist. And then everybody's decided, well, I'm going to be culturally cool. I want to be in style. I want to be accepted. So even when they're hearing the news admit it and tell us how great it is, they've already pre-positioned it psychologically that it's not acceptable, it's not kosher to discuss it. Do you see the tactic they're using there? Mm-hmm. 5 years ago, I would laugh when I heard about black helicopters. I would say, I'm about taxes, I'm about corruption, I'm about getting local control back, I'm about states' rights, everything's coming under federal control. I was pretty mainstream, what you'd call so-called conservative. Then I saw the light when black helicopters started going into North Carolina. I started going into Florida. They fired into an all-night restaurant in Miami, just training, firing bullets into a place where people were eating. They started burning buildings. Police chiefs started throwing them out of their towns, San Antonio. All this started happening, and I said, whoa, this is real. And then I realized that I was preconditioned, even as a so-called conservative person who understood that the media lied. I didn't realize how thick the propaganda was, that they preconditioned us before they release something on us, that it, number one, doesn't exist in our minds with classic doublethink, but then it can re-exist at the same time if they say it does and it's good. So it's literally George Orwell's doublethink, and one has to have it to stay sane in this world. Well, I refuse to be a part of it. I mean, the news every day, black helicopters are a joke, they're stupid, the culture, commercials, movies. At the same time, almost every month in this country, they're attacking and terrorizing some town with burning buildings and terror. I don't know, I'm just attacking it at every level. And I don't want to be part of their sick control freak system. I don't like these degenerate, inbred, New World Order crowd people. They're not going to run my life. They're not going to control me. And I'm going to try to expose them. And I think we've had some success doing that.
Well, hello, folks. I'm sorry to interrupt your viewing here on classic Alex Jones or Jeff Davis or Steve Lane or George Humphrey here on. Be sure to subscribe to Mike Hanson Archives, which is our newest one, and our newest one is Waco Archives. Anything we've done with Waco, we're going to put on there separately. But Mike Hanson Archives on YouTube and Hanson Archives. And we're busy putting up all these old shows. There's one of, I don't know what they're doing there. I guess they're, that's when Barcodes just come out. They were complaining about it. There's Alex. And we just got through with this one over here, Alex and Steve on the Freedom Report. We have an editor over here and she's letting it render now. But that's what we're doing here on these channels. We're putting up 25-year-old shows from Alex Jones and Jeff Davis. I was both their producers from 1995 all the way up to 2010. And it's probably 60 or 70 people doing what I used to do in Alex's office now. But if you would like to help us fund this project, write us here at 901 St. Joseph's, Gonzales, Texas. Send us $25 and I'll send you a signed copy of my book, Bohemian Grove, Cult of Conspiracy, when Alex Jones and I snuck into the Bohemian Grove back in the year 2000. Let me move my fly swatter out of the way. There is Alex and I when we were younger. Okay. We'll get you back to watching the good classics here on, what is that, Alex being arrested? But we got hundreds and hundreds of tapes to do. We got to transfer them over to from VHS over to the computer. There's Jeff Davis. All right, well, give us a call if you'd like to put it on a credit card at 830-672-3089. If you would like to write us, we're at 901 St. Joseph Street in Gonzales, Texas. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and let all your friends know about all these old shows we're putting up. They haven't been seen in 25 years. Thanks a lot and God bless.
There's dairy cows and a big swan. Well, here we are, folks, turning on to the Bohemian Highway and Bohemian Grove. We're going to find out what in the New World Order is going on here. Ah, it's my redcoat friend. In the morning, that'd be 4 in the morning, Texas time. We were getting really tired, and I said, that's it. Let's drive back to town, 5 in the morning. And then we didn't even wake up. We heard your call because we had like a 8:30 wake-up call. So
You thought you'd been taken?
no, I tell you, it's beautiful out here during the day, but it is spooky at night. I don't know if you guys got some footage of it, but all the fog and the rest of it.
So are you excited?
Oh yeah, I really want to check into some maps and things, and I'm willing. I mean, hiking into 2,700 acres is not too hard. We need to get into the woods. We need to assert ourselves. We need to catch these people at their business. The old cremation of care. Their little Moloch or Maloch or Maloch's worship. I'm joking. That's the. Oh, they're spies, aren't they? Oh, you guys just got here too? Okay.
There's people. There's people
Camera wars. Stereo. I'm going to hang out in the woods till it gets dark. Think that's a bad idea?
No.
Certainly not going to try to go in there during the night because, you know, I'm going to get out at night. And then it's just headlong stumbling about. Now, where's this river? This is near the Russian, which they even admit has its roots in like Babylon and the Druids had them and everything else. So all over the world, this weird owl shows up. Some cultures, they've thrown children inside the bowels of this burning owl. That's historical. We've all read in the Bible about throwing your children to idols inside their, you know. So it's weird behavior, definitely. So it needs to be investigated. And plus, it gets the adrenaline up. Thrill seekers have to have more. That would mean that from the area, and this will actually take some real planning because I didn't have these maps like you guys do. I'm gonna need to know where I'm supposed to get in here at. Where there's a road, where.
Well, this guy tonight will give you a really good briefing.
Yeah, this guy tonight knows everything.
And you think you can trust him?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
We'll be the judge of that.
I'm not going to end up tied down on a pentagram with Henry Kissinger's fat belly hanging over me while he's naked with a big dagger, am I? I just want to make sure that's a joke.
Just a thought. It's very.
Oh, like Governor Bush running around in a pink tutu, foaming at the mouth with a purple wig on, am I? No. Supposedly, I hear that's what they do. So. I don't know.
I think they do these things, but the question is why.
because they were brought up very conservatively. I mean, let's think about it. These are all the supposed conservatives. And so to them, sex is bad, all this stuff is dirty, ooh, they're really getting away with something. Whereas if you're brought up different, then it's really no big deal. And I found that's why I've been able to have family and been happy and not ever gotten into all the weirdnesses, because to me they're just stupid. But to all these old-fashioned weirdos and these power brokers, which bomb innocent countries and slaughter people and, you know, pump the food chain full of garbage and just everything else they do, it's probably something fun for them. And they really get off on being bad little boys. And they probably peed their pants when they were little and got off on it.
And rule the world. I mean, this is, for some people, this is the secret room.
Well, I mean, certainly in the whole class system, it's the pleasures of class. And now what class is, the power that you have is something different.
All by myself at the edge of the woods. You have a gun for me to hold or something to protect myself with, I will, but I'm not going to just hang out in the middle of the woods.
All right, baby, then I'll tell you what.
But I'm happy to come along. I mean, as long as you really have a plan.
Why don't you stay here then? Because there's no way to hide your beautiful femininity from the goblins. So.
Well, I'm sure that there'll be some way that I can come along.
For many years I've said that Henry Kissinger and all these people look like goblins. Madeleine Albright. In fact, she was in one Scandinavian country.
Oh, Alex just started filming, so I'm now on camera. It's George Bush Jr.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, W. Okay, it's Fenton. I'll see you soon. Okay, bye. Bye. Okay, let's go. Let's go, 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 go.
Ready for me to close this?
Yeah, that's fine. So we're heading to Santa Rosa in a convoy, right? That's the plan.
To get disguises.
Yeah, to get our costumes, our preppy costumes.
Well, beautiful. More beautiful. How beautiful.
Hi, Alex.
So pretty.
You're way too close to me.
No, I'm not, Ducky.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. You don't know. Hey, say hi.
And the thing that all these adventures have in common is that all these people who have nothing else in common all believe in the secret room and the idea of there being a global elite that rule things from inside some secret room somewhere, which is what takes us to Northern California.
And this is a secret globalist frolic.
Right, yeah.
Bohemian
This
Grove.
is the secret room summer camp, basically. So from what we've been told, and we're going to find out tonight.
And we're told that FBI agents are swarming the area.
We've been told that, like adventures with them. None of that's in the series.
And there's a book coming out.
And that's the book. None of that stuff's in the series, but the series is the search. It's the search for the secret room, the search for the secret rulers of the world, which is what's brought us to Alex Jones and Mike Hanson and California, Northern California with the Bohemian Grove that's up the road. And all that's going to be in the film. Now, we're making that for British TV, Channel 4 in the UK. All I can say is that the last film I made with Discovery Channel, a couple of months ago, May 2000, so I kind of hope that this series will also air in the States, and there's no reason why it shouldn't.
I think it will. What? Wow.
It's got one sachet full of sweetener in it. It's really going for it. It's going wow like that.
Oh, you've been feeding him sweetener?
No, he fed himself.
So he came up on here.
We started there, eating the sweetener. In fact, there's the evidence. So he's been in there.
Well, he has to.
And then he went down. Oh, then he went over here. And then he went down there. Now he's a bit lost.
No, thank you.
Pretty snail.
I think it's probably bogged, actually.
And that's a federal agent right there.
Hey, you know, a guy came up to us just now. This is one of the new breed of high-tech federal agents. All this is in there is just tech. This guy came up to us just now. Alex.
Nanotechnology micro beast. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
He came up and he said, "You work in the Grove?" First question.
He said you work in the Grove?
Yeah, and he had a big bushy beard, and he looked like he'd had a lot of acid in his life.
Really? What'd you say?
I said, yeah. And he said, oh yeah. And then he started talking about the weather for half an hour. So we don't know what to make of it.
Now, yesterday, you were talking to an Australian who lives around here now.
Yeah.
He was talking about the FBI.
Yeah, this Australian we met yesterday. He's been here for 3 years, and he says that about 2-3 months ago, the whole place was saturated with men in black, FBI, Secret Service, and everything going up and down the roads, checking everything, checking houses, everything from bombs and stuff, and then they all disappeared, and they were looking out for undesirables in the area who were persuaded to go. That was his story.
And now we're going to
talk to him.
And now we're going to infiltrate.
I think we should go and see what we can see.
The public has a right to know.
They do.
I worried a communist. No, I married a banker propaganda false class envy specialist.
That's right, yeah. It's all about that. That's what communists are, and they're in red and black.
Are you excited about tonight, Alex?
Yeah, what were you saying, John?
Are you excited about tonight?
I am extremely excited. What about you, David?
Joel.
Excited?
Yeah.
No. Hey, you don't get excited. See what's going to happen.
Ever, huh?
It's very cool as a cucumber.
It's been in your own local papers that Henry Kissinger, George Bush, so-called conservatives, I mean, by the thousands go in there, governors, Hollywood people, and they go in there and do this.
Oh, you mean to go into the Bohemian Grove and freak out and run around naked and shit?
After sex.
Pardon my profanity.
Can you say that again without the cuss word?
Yeah.
What do they do in the Bohemian Grove that you've heard?
What did I say?
They run around naked.
Run around naked and freak out. There you go.
Have you heard that?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, to tell you the truth, here's a funny story.
What have you heard? Okay, go ahead.
No, this is the truth. A couple years ago, I was down the road, just down Yar, past Camp Meeker, and I was stopped with a friend of mine.
Now, Camp Meeker's right outside Bohemian Grove.
That's an affirmative.
Yes.
And we were down the road, and we were stopped there because we were just having a cigarette, hanging out, taking a break, and some Secret Service men actually pulled up behind us and asked us what we were doing, why we were there. This is true. They were like, "What are you guys doing? Where are you at? Why are you parked here? What's going on?" And asked us a whole bunch of questions. What our names were, who we were affiliated with, where we lived, all kinds of stuff. Sort of interrogated us.
Did you answer their questions?
Totally.
Now, wait a minute. You live here. What's your name?
My name?
Yeah.
My name's Justice.
You live here. You live here locally. You're just parked down the road, hanging out. What were you doing? Smoking a cigarette?
Yeah.
What was it? You and a girlfriend or just some friends?
That was a friend of mine.
All right. So you're just hanging out.
Yeah.
What time was it?
It was in the afternoon, probably about 6 o'clock.
So you're just chilling out on the side road or right off the highway?
Right off the highway.
On one of those little turnarounds?
Sure.
Because we pulled in one of those and took a break today ourselves. And you're saying the Secret Service pulled up and was asking questions?
Yeah. Well, I don't know who they were. They were guys in sunglasses and short haircuts and cars with the E license plates. So I assume they were affiliates.
What vehicle were they driving?
K cars.
Well,
first off, how long you lived around here?
approximately on and off 32 years.
Oh, really? So most of your life?
Mm-hmm.
What have you heard about the Bohemian Grove?
It's where all of the, like, FBI and you're talking about the Bohemian Grove. Yeah, it's like the quote-unquote elite and presidential retreat.
Have you heard about the rituals that go on there?
No, I haven't. Well, the people who have more money than the rest of us in the world are a bit different. They're stingy. They want to hoard it all for themselves. And they think they're going to go to heaven. But they're not. Because they don't know how to provide or do as Jesus told them to.
What would you say if I told you that they sacrifice a human in effigy before a giant 45 to 50-foot stone owl?
I would say that's probably why they're going to hell.
But these people, we're talking about billions, and then we're talking about governmental control. Is it bad to have something that's secret, elite, and pagan at the same time?
Yeah, sounds like Satan's building his cult. Satan's building his army.
Fire shall have its will of thee. Begone, don't care. And all the winds, they carry with thy doubts. Hail, fellowship's eternal flame. Once again, midsummer sets us free.
Transnational establishment. So it's time for everybody across America to start standing up, because we got people power. Amen. Peaceful patriots or the huge military-industrial complex that Eisenhower warned us about. I think I'm afraid of the military-industrial complex that owns our media. I think I'm afraid of the foreign banks. That's who I'm afraid of, not of you people.
Good luck, sir.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Jim. How you doing, Ellinger?
All right, son, I'm ready for you.
All right, they're ready for me. Let's go. Come over here and get the pretty little red light. Come on. Isn't that pretty? And they'll put a nice little clinic in here in the next few years for urine and blood testing like Clinton wants. What do I have to hide? I'm a criminal. Here we have it. Nice little pretty red light. Get that, Mike. There we have it. Your photograph, they capture your signature, they capture your thumbprint, and now Clinton wants urine and blood, and I've given that to the media, the actual federal register that he wants the states to implement. And I guess it tells them how to put clinics in, and it tells them how to urine and blood test law-abiding citizens not under 18 like the media says.
Hi.
How you doing? I am here with 8 forms of identification. I have my passport. Here's that, my name, and the form you asked me to fill out. I have no criminal record. My name is Alexander Emmerich Jones. Here is my passport. Here is my insurance. Here is another form of ID. Here is my old driver's license. Here is my birth certificate. And here is my W-2 form. And here is 2 more insurance cards, old ones, just so you can double check. It's a health club card.
You've got plenty of ID.
Okay.
Good to go. We're going to get you
I
duplicate
just
right now.
need for you to answer these first 3 questions.
Take a look at these questions there and go over them things.
So I don't have to thumb scan.
Well, we're going to get to that. You are eventually going to have to. Yes, sir.
But not now.
Not at this point, but you will before we're done with the process.
Why?
Because it's required.
It's required by Bill Clinton in 1992, and it was instituted here in Texas in 1993. I know the code, sir. Are you going to institute his urine and blood testing when he commands you? Are you going to stick a needle in my arm when I have no criminal record?
The only questions I'm going to answer right now are concerning driver's license issuance.
You just follow orders, don't you? So you're saying you're going to deny me the constitutional right to travel if I do not submit to this digital thumb scanning?
What I will tell you, today you will not receive a duplicate driver's license if you do not submit to a thumbprint.
Okay, look, I feel like I'm being raped here.
Well, I would sit down with you for hours to try to do what I could to help you.
Then just give me my license without digitally thumb scanning.
I am not going to violate DPS policy.
Is there a religious exception?
For your exception.
Is there a religious exception?
No. No, sir, there's not.
Everyone must take the mark. A digitally enhanced mark.
I'm not talking about mark.
A digital tattoo.
I know. Your ID, you are good to go.
Yeah, well, if I'm good to go, why do you need my thumbprint?
Because it's part of the procedure of issuing.
It's part of Bill Clinton's law, isn't it? It's an executive order. It's a decree by Bill Clinton. NCIC. Yeah, and if I drive without a license, what's the penalties for driving without a license?
You know, I don't even want to go there.
That's right.
You know why?
I'm asking you.
It doesn't pertain to it.
You're an officer. I'm asking you the law.
I would be glad to sit down.
So you're saying I'll be committing a crime by driving if I don't take your mark?
I would be glad to do anything I can to help you, sir.
Well, see, you're saying...
I'm not against you, and I understand...
Officer Ard, you're sitting here, Sergeant, and telling me that you're all friendly and you're all nice. But I'll be pulled over and given tickets. If I don't pay those, I will go to jail because of my morals and my beliefs, I will not take this. And I'm here to tell you, I already took this in '93, and many people will say, well, you've already taken it. What's your problem with it? Because now I figured out what this is, and I'm opposing all those others that are being herded in here like cattle to be thumb scanned like criminals.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
We don't even need to start there. If I know that you're not going to submit to a thumbprint, why waste your time?
See, right up front. They will drop, and people are being turned away all day here. So you're saying I pay my taxes, I'm raped by the IRS, which is criminal. You know, it's well known.
And you heard the key word submit.
Submit. He just said I must submit.
There's a lady down the counter.
I'm telling you, I've never been to jail.
I don't know. What do you want me to do for you?
I want you to give me my driver's license. I want my driver's license. I am not a criminal. I may become one today, but that's fine. You're saying you won't take me to jail at 5 if I'm still here.
No, we're not going to take you to jail.
Oh, yeah. This is against the grain of the Constitution. Look, if I don't take the mark, my right to travel is taken. You're taking my rights and telling me that it's no big deal? And now you want a urine and blood test. Bring me the document. Who has the urine and blood testing document? I need it. I'm going to pass these out to people. Ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Register, Bill Clinton, urine and blood testing plan for you. Tell your friends about it. We have got to stand against this. The states are preparing to implement this plan. This is not a joke. This is not the entire document. It gets worse. You know, we really should fast forward that. They said they wouldn't arrest me, but you see, Mike Cox, DPS spokesperson or spin doctor, shows up and said, this must be contained. And of course, I was arrested then, setting a precedent that you must take their digital mark, which means they can control more and more, make you jump through any hoop you could imagine to get a driver's license, to get a bank account, to get a job, to live your life. And now in 5 states, Pennsylvania, Iowa, Ohio, many other places, they make you waive your Fourth Amendment rights to be able to get a keg of beer with the state police, that they can search your home for a year whenever they feel like it. To get beer, to live your life, to get a driver's license, to go wherever. They're making you waive rights, waive rights. It's fraud. It's color of law. The national ID card has been defeated 3 times in Congress. But as soon as Bill Clinton was elected in 92, got into office in January of 93, he signed that executive order to bring Texas and the rest of the country thumb scanners. Now, many states have said no, but Texas and California and others have said yes. New York, Florida. Any big state, they've got to get it rammed through there. I talked to hundreds of people who have taken the thumb scan here in Austin who didn't even remember thumb scanning until I said, remember the little black box, the little red light? Now they're talking about putting clinics in and getting urine and blood. That's in the executive order. Tell me we're not in a police state. Tell me we're not in a civil emergency. Tell me we're not in a military dictatorship under this government. They're not going to announce it on television. They're not going to tell you what we're living under, but it's already happening. It's already here. I want to put Infowars.com up on the screen, then we'll start taking your calls here in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and put Infowars.com up, because this document, Infowars.com, this document right here, this is Senate Report 93-549. It's at any law library, like the University of Texas Law Library. Is available to you on Infowars.com. You can download it for absolutely free. We have a link to it. And it is 25 pages long. I suggest you read it, where they admit that we're already in a national emergency, that martial law was declared March 9th, 1933 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and then it has been expanded and increased, and more of the Constitution and Bill of Rights destroyed. I hear people every day say, Alex, when is martial law coming? You said martial law is coming. No, I've been saying martial law is here. It's what degree on the scale from 1 to 10 have we reached? I say a number 5 on this Richter scale, doubling in its severity every point. I mean, here it is for you. The Senate even admits it. This is not even debatable, that the Bill of Rights and the Constitution has been suspended. After 33, we got the state police that are really federal police. We got licensing. That is papers. Americans didn't have to have papers in this country before unless you were black, because it was racist. Now, I'm not bashing American history. That's a horrible part of it. Slavery is still going on in many parts of the world. White people, black people, you name it. My point is, we didn't have to have papers until the mid and late 1930s after 33, when the federal police, under the guise of state police, were put into effect. And presidential executive orders and powers were decreed down through the DPSs, Department of Public Safeties, throughout the country. Research when Texas got its DPS. 1936, Roosevelt. Federal funding to set it up. That's when it all began. And now if you don't have a license walking down the street, they'll pull you over or stop you on the street when you're not even in your car and say, where's your ID? And they'll take you to jail or they'll arrest you. It's a law. Asset forfeiture seizure. They'll pull you over. Got a couple grand in your wallet. They'll take it. You'll say, but I don't have any drugs. I have no criminal record. It's up to you to prove it's yours, bud. This is even in the newspapers. They say, what's the big deal? Throwing it in your face. Cameras going up. Listening devices going up all over Central Texas with federal grants. You ask yourself, why is this happening? Because we are the prey species on this planet today. Human beings throughout the last 10,000 years of human history have set up this hierarchical system, and now it's really growing fatter and more despotic than it ever has before because people are so decadent, there's so much food, there's so much drink, people are basically doped out on it. They're narcotized on the pleasure and entertainment. They're not going to announce martial law or even civil emergency unless you're in Seattle or Washington, D.C. for government provocateur actions. They're just going to incrementally train the cops, train the military, train the people, the troops on the street, militarized police, armored personnel carriers being delivered to police, police-type garb, SWAT teams. All of this is normal. Going through a checkpoint is normal. All of it federally funded, all of it federally controlled. From the national ID card that's illegal, 3 times in Congress voted down, still being implemented, to the federal cameras, to the federal microphones they're putting up in Austin, that was in the paper last year. All of this developing in your face, but you're waiting for some big announcement, some Hollywood announcement from Washington. Oh, it's martial law. You don't have any rights. They're just going to take your rights, tell you we're some wonderful democracy, and you'll never know the better. At least they hope. I'm going to recap this throughout the evening. It's Senate Report 93-549. You need to mass email to people about this government link I have on Infowars.com. War and Emergency Powers Act, emergency powers status, provisions of federal law now in effect, delegating to the executive extraordinary authority in a time of national emergency, report on the Special Committee on the Termination of National Emergency, United States Senate, November 19, 1973, U.S. Government Printing Office, Washington, 1973, document number 24-5090. Since March 9, 1933, the United States has been in a state of declared national emergency. In fact, there are now in effect 4 presidential proclaimed states of national emergency. This is in 73, now there's about 10. In addition to the national emergency declared by President Roosevelt in 33, there have also been national emergencies proclaimed by President Truman on December 16th, and the states of national emergency declared by President Nixon on March 23rd, 1970, and August 15th, 1971. It has nothing to do with emergencies they claim. It is to give the bureaucracy the power to circumvent Congress and build this 4th branch of government. These proclamations give force to 470 provisions of federal law. These hundreds of statutes delegated to the President extraordinary powers, ordinary exercised by Congress, which affect the lives of American citizens in a host of all-encompassing manners. This vast range of powers taken together confer enough authority to rule the country without reference to normal constitutional processes. And then it goes into the U.S. Code for 25 pages. This is from 1973, Senate Report 93-549, a War and Emergency Powers Act. Since then, let's just take last year, Senate Bill 1059, Defense Appropriations for 2000, subsection 1067 of Senate Bill 1059, authorizes total military takeover. This is their words. A total military takeover for the mere threat of terrorism. The mere threat of terrorism. No longer can they just give so-called surplus brand new M16s and armored personnel carriers wheel tanks to police. No longer can they just give them helicopters and military training assistance. Now, for any purpose that the President or the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary, you name it, of the Treasury, Lawrence Summers, or Janet Reno, Attorney General of the Justice Department, they can do this for any reason. Think about it. Senate Bill 1059, Section 1067 authorizes that. Look at Section 1084. Spent hours in these sections. Government search engine, Thomas. Thomas.gov, pull it right up there. It's all over Infowars.com. We've saved the document. Section 1084, the lethal transfer of lethal chemical weapons to the Department of Justice from the Department of Defense. And the same government's telling us it's not a question of if, but when there's going to be a chemical or biological attack on the American people. And what is their solution? They say, give up our rights, submit to Big Brother. The same thing Hitler did in 1933 when he said, the Jews, the blah, blah, blahs, they're going to blow something up if I don't take full command and round people up and suspend and set up checkpoints and issue licenses and papers, something Germans didn't have before. And what did he do? He blew up the Reichstag, burned to the ground the government building he'd been elected to. His approval rating skyrocketed. He cleaned the streets when he's the guy that blew it. Now, that's part of history now. We're about to go to your calls. But I wanted to get to this first. This is a Newsmax story. China flexes muscles south of the border. While the dominant Chinese presence in Panama since the U.S. pullout is widely recognized, mainland China's increased power in the rest of Central Asia has up until now been less obvious. And then it goes into how the Taiwanese president, the pro-independence president, who China's been threatening to nuke that country of 38 or 28 million people, China's threatening Central and South America to not allow him to travel there as a diplomatic tour. And they've taken over the Panama Canal. They've taken over Long Beach Naval Base. They've been given it by Clinton and given it by the Republicans who stood by and let it happen. They're all the same people. The Chinese are now the new favorites of the New World Order, not America. We're no longer the muscle. We still have these memories of freedom. We still have guns. We still have private property. They realize it'll take another 20 years to drive it fully from us. China is 1.25 billion plus slaves. They're selling political dissidents organs. They've got huge slave camps building widgets and toys and everything else. They are the new chosen ones to be used as muscle economically and militarily. Let me tell you how you use it as muscle against people. You're the New World Order. You're the top 20 corporations and banks. You don't make your money through free market activities. You make it through government regulation and control of your competition. You want to leverage out all your competition? You want to consolidate power? You go into China, you make deals on IMF and World Bank loans. You make deals on them for military secrets to be transferred. If they only allow, say, Boeing to manufacture there and not Airbus, which is not an American company. That doesn't help us. It just makes them leave Washington and Seattle and move to China, which they're doing. You go in, you say, give Walmart or give Kmart the exclusive on these manufactured goods. And then boom, it's all shipped in. All the clothing lines really manufactured by one group, or most of them now. They're in China. And it gives you incredibly cheap products with no environmental standards, no workers' compensation, no Social Security, 10 cents an hour if they're lucky, if they're not slaves, as many of them actually truly are. China admits this. You ship that into America, and on top of it, China's got a 40% tariff on America. We've got a 2.2% on them on average. And that's called free trade by the World Trade Organization, 5.5 years old, given power by the bankers, by the World Bank and IMF, and ruling against American industry every case. This is World War III. Do you realize? Do you realize? No wonder China, the PLA, their ruthless 2 million man military, was given control of the Panama Canal. No wonder they were given Long Beach Naval Base. No wonder they're doing all this, because the New World Order is building them up to be their new thug on the block. It's so bad. But, oh, it's free trade. Oh, Alex, don't be an isolationist. Okay. Well, then how if I give you 40 eggs and you only, give me a break, and then you only give me 2? Will you let me give you 2 eggs for 40 eggs? Because that's the mathematical breakdown on the tariffs and trade with China. But they call it free trade when they have a 40% or even higher average tariff on us. This is not debatable. It's all in the newspapers. They say it's wonderful. A 40% tariff, and we have a 2% on them, on top of the slave goods and the cheap labor. We can't compete, no matter how smart we are, unless the establishment decides to not give China the technologies to be developed there to be sold in this country by select Western corporations that control that country. And you can be bought off because of Hollywood and the culture that tells you baubles and trinkets are everything, the cool car, the cool house, whatever. this is all that matters. You'll do anything to attain it and think you've hit the top of the charts in your own petty elite. Meanwhile, the country's going to hell in a handbasket. We're being drugged, literally, with all of this entertainment and all of these pleasures and all of the rest of it. I have to fight it myself. God, tell me I don't want to go to southern Mexico to go swimming, to go hiking in the hills, and to go check out the pyramids again like I did when I was younger. I mean, damn it, I want to go to Europe. I want to write a book, but I got to broadcast 6 hours a day on the radio. I want to make documentary films. Don't have time to do it because I've got to get this out to as many people as possible. And we're having success. I just got picked up in Tampa, Florida today on my radio show, and St. Petersburg. So stuff's moving forward. The point is, we're all fighting. You can fight. I started out at Access Television almost 7 years ago, and I'm still going strong. And I want to thank our sponsors. Then we'll get back into your calls. We're sponsored by River City Collision, complete auto body collision repair. Thank you, River City Collision. I also would like to thank the Hardware Store Incorporated at Spicewood Springs Road and 183. Bob Dacey's our sponsor. And I want to thank the Hardware Store Incorporated. Thank you so much for supporting the First Amendment with your sponsorship. All right. And let's get Infowars.com back up there. I want to thank my crew as well. Let me recap this in about a 1-minute spiel, then we'll go to your calls. Let me explain it to you. Martial law's not coming. The train's not coming. It's not about to get to the station. It's already left, and this bullet train is accelerating. It's at about 20 miles an hour right now. It's going to go up to 200 miles an hour. We're on board. They'll ask for your papers. They'll run you through checkpoints. The police will demand to search your vehicles. The cameras are going up. The national ID cards are in by fiat, despite if Congress throws it out 3 times. The Know Your Customer legislation at the banks, with the FBI snooping through all your accounts openly. The United Nations calling for the International Criminal Court, saying they're going to enforce it even if America doesn't accept it, and they'll extradite Americans. The militarization of the police is happening. They'll stop you as you walk to the store and ask, where's your ID now? And take you to jail in some cases if you don't have it. That's police state. That's martial law. It's not coming. It's here. It's in the now. And the average cop is not bad. The average military person is not bad. The average sheriff is not bad. They're ignorant, or they're just petty, and they're corrupt, and they think it's no big deal. People don't see the accelerated incrementalism and what's happening, and we're all being acclimated to accept this. I want to remind you, military checkpoints have been run all over Texas on highways and byways. We have produced a film, Police State 2, The Takeover, and we've aired it here, with the video of it happening, news articles as well from around the country, Knoxville News Sentinel, Iowa Journal, mainstream papers. We have video from here in Texas. It's happening. How can people in the military who were formerly there, who fought against Hitler and Stalin and people like that, look at military checkpoints now with police and say it's all right? Something is desperately wrong. We are in a police state. We're not going into one. And here's Senate Report 93-549 from 1973 on Infowars.com, linked directly to the government, admitting that we're in a state of emergency and that each president expands it as it grows and gets worse. America had a lot of freedom. We were a big elephant to eat. But as Bill Clinton has said, he's going to get our guns one bite at a time, just like you eat an elephant. And don't think Bush is going to save you. They're 2 peas in a pod. That's how bad it's gotten. Let's go ahead and take your calls now. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Yes. I just wanted to know that I'm a big fan. Wanted you to know that I'm a big fan of yours and have much respect for you. I caught in halfway through the show, and I want to know what's the deal with the thumb scanners.
Well, it's illegal according to the Constitution and Bill of Rights, and Congress has voted it down 3 separate times, but it has already been implemented in 37 states, thrown out of 2 of those. The others are holding. They are just doing it by fiat. You want your highway funds, you do it. As if it's free federal money. They take $1 of our tax money, 30 cents comes back to the states, 11 cents to the people, with strings attached. How is that a good deal?
What do they do with it? What is the thumb scan for, though?
Well, it makes it very easy to track and trace what you do once the system's in. Banks are getting ready to put them in. They're putting in retina scanners. They can control what you buy and sell. They can turn your digital thumbprint ID off if you're not a good minion in the future. You'll see millions of homeless people suddenly and the loving police force rounding them up to go to detention centers, re-education. That's their plan. It gives them total control over your personal destiny, sir.
Last question is, what's your take on labor unions, organized labor?
Well, I think labor unions are a good idea if they weren't so centralized and easily taken over, and many times they end up being the tool of the establishment. Take what happened. I mean, we've got the AFL-CIO saying we've got to support Bill Clinton in '96, which there's no difference between Bill Clinton and Al Gore, but here's the diversion. Saying we've got to support Bill Clinton and Al Gore against Dole and whoever his running Jack Kemp, and saying because Jack Kemp and Bob Dole are for NAFTA and GATT, which is destroying our jobs. Look at what's happening. This is not free trade. And then labor and then Al Gore steps right in and immediately, even admitting he was going to vote for NAFTA and GATT, did. They're loyal opposition. Now they want to represent the 20 million illegal immigrants in this country. Well, look, if you come here legally, that's fine. I mean, I'm against a German immigrant or a Mexican immigrant. It's not a racial issue. The problem is the Mexican immigrants are coming in as good folks, but being filled with hatred by La Raza and Mecha that are funded by whites, funded by the Ford Foundation, $9.5 billion nation-wrecking machine, to bring this country down and to create dissension and to create this division. I mean, when I saw the tapes of black people and white people and Hispanics being beat up by racist La Raza and Mecha people, which want Aslan to be part of Mexico, Texas, and California and all this, beating him up at a '97 San Diego 4th of July parade, and the police doing nothing and holding up signs with white people's heads cut off, I knew that was the Klan. I mean, I fight the Klan. They've given me death threats. They've done some other stuff, and now here I am with these guys, people claiming to be with Mecha, sending me hate mail, and, you know, this is what it's all about. So now you see AFL-CIO supporting that. It's just to destroy this country. And you see the big corporations supporting opening the borders. And then it's just horrible what's happening. Hello, you're on the air.
Yes, I wanted to ask you a question. When the president sends out a mandate under the Federal Emergency Management Act, what is the process by which that mandate is repealed, and how many, or if any, have been repealed?
A few have been questioned by Congress, and then a president will hurriedly go in and issue a new executive order to delete or alter the old executive order. Not one executive order has ever been completely withdrawn by Congress because they don't have the power. The government was suspended in 1933. It's a puppet deal. Just like Caesar, you know, would still allow the Senate to meet, but it was just for them to bring him suggestions. So that's basically what's happening here. The death of the Republic in Rome, the death of the Republic here. But it still goes on because to fight 100 senators and their lands and their generals and their armies would be too hard. A smart Caesar takes control and says, well, I'm the main executive leader here and I make all the decisions, but if you're nice and ally with me, I won't kill you. Because he couldn't kill all 100 at the same time. It took generations for it to be total power, get rid of that Senate completely. Then soon a general figured out he could just stab the Caesar and be in control.
I see. And just out of curiosity, did you ever get your license?
No, I didn't.
Did not get your license?
No, I'm just like Rosa Parks' little black lady. I refuse to get on the back of the bus. I'm tired. I've been out cleaning houses all day. I'm going to sit at the front, damn it.
Ah, I see. So since they did have...
Do you understand my analogy?
Yes,
of people say, well, you got fingerprinted when we went to the jail. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, we got you. No. It's not about the thumb scan. It's not that I jealously don't want my piece of data in the system. As a culture, as it's all going into it, and it being federal, and it being illegal, Congress has voted it down. It's incredibly unpopular. It is creating a matrix-like control system.
And since you said in '93 you did scan
yes.
the thumb, so is that currently in their database?
Yes.
It is currently. And is that changing anything? Have you noticed a change in how if they're monitoring you, surveilling you, or anything?
I don't even care if people surveil me. they don't have the forces to do it. The people outnumber them 500 to 1. It's an intimidation of the mind.
I'm just curious. You said would change. They could get control of your future.
Okay, only 37 states have implemented the national ID card illegally. They haven't started the urine and blood testing, which is an executive order that we put on screen. Put it back up, Mike, please. I want to explain this to you. It's the system. It's the encroachment. It's that the banks are putting in the same thumb scanners in big cities like Houston and New York and Chicago and L.A. now, the very same system the government's put in. And they've signed on to Know Your Customer, which was defeated in Congress last year, but still being implemented. That means the FBI could go into your bank account, seize it, look at it, and never even tell you.
What about the banking conspiracy of putting thumbprint scanners in quarters?
But see, sir, it's not a conspiracy. The scanners are going in the banks.
No. I understand it's my poor choice of words. What about putting them in the currency?
There's already a scanner in the currency, sir.
Yes, I realize that. But
no. People don't believe that. Let me show them. Hold on a minute. Pull my wallet out here.
But I'm asking, is that done by the banking industry, or is that a portion of a larger body, or is that the banking industry alone?
The Federal Reserve is private, run for profit. It's a quasi-governmental private organization. The stockholders are private. They use government muscle as their front. Now, here's the face side of a $5 bill. And it's right over here, right past the Federal Reserve seal. There is a microfilm piece of film right here, a metal oxide plastic, which has that this is a $5 bill when it was issued. Okay? And the Federal Reserve came out about a year and a half ago and made people really pissed when they said, people got really angry, when they said, we're going to start issuing the money and we need to be able to devalue it if people don't put it back in the bank, which you should be allowed to do. You've worked for this symbol of energy. You should certainly be able to keep it. And they say they're going to scan it when it leaves the bank, and when it leaves your bank, and they will scan it, and if you don't put it in after a year, it will start becoming worthless. They will simply devalue it at that level. Not because they want to stop inflation, which they cause, but because they want to be able to control your destiny. So if they turn your thumb scanning off, they take that digital mark, it scans the space in your fingers and makes a number. This is their own technology in biometrics. If you're not a good citizen, they just delete that number or say invalid. This is what they could do. Then you go, that's fine. I got $10,000 I saved and I've got it. Well, suddenly your money, they can just devalue your money. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Is that in the new currency as well?
Yes, it's in all of it. Let me show you. Let me show you this. Give me a close shot again, Mike. Yeah, you got to pull it out slow. Look at that. Look at that. Ooh, loving. It's not a magic trick, ladies and gentlemen. It's in your money. Oops. There you have it. That is private run-for-profit money by the Federal Reserve, the bankers that seized control of this country in 1913 and had their martial law take over in 1933. Senate Report 93-549, November 19th, 1973. They admit it all right in here.
All right,
up on Infowars.com.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate your call, sir. Of course, many people, I've heard them on the radio shows call in, say that I made it up and there is no stripping the money. You're probably too lazy, some of you, to check for yourself. Or to go to the Federal Reserve's website, from I guess about a year and a half ago, or even longer, when they came out and said we want to start doing this in the near future. Wow. Total control. Hello, you're on the air.
Charlie's Hotel, please.
All right. Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah. I've been wondering why I've been on this bullet train, wondering why George Bush and Bill Clinton are on this gravy train, putting stuff, making us get all ID cards, with the dick for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean,
it's, again, Bill Clinton, George Bush are high-level puppets, sir, just like Alan Greenspan and the rest of them.
Okay.
I mean, they're just controlled little front men.
Yeah.
There's this friendly illusion in the press and the culture. Pardon me?
They're pawns.
Yes, there's this friendly illusion in the culture that, the end of the thing is the president. What does he think?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Come on. Thanks a lot. That's my take.
Appreciate the calls. I just, I don't know what to say about any of it. I just, the whole thing is blasphemous. And you can look at the evidence or you can ignore it. But we're not going into martial law, baby. We're in it. We're in a police state. It's how much worse are we going to let it get? Is the average cop a knowing member of the conspiracy to take over society? No. He's like the centurion 2,000 years ago, just wanting his little bit of money, and he enjoys a little bit of power, and he's just doing his job for Hail Caesar. Hail the governor of Caesar. Hail the local region of Caesar. Hail. That's what they're doing. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you doing? I've only watched the show a couple of times now, and what I hear is good to know that someone's speaking out for the government, and I know it's off the subject.
Well, it's not even our government. It's an occupational, private, run-for-profit, fascist government that created communism, socialism, everything else you can imagine to criminally consolidate wealth through dictatorial machines.
Right. One of my questions is, obviously, well, do you like where you live? And would you, I mean, you're bashing government for somewhat.
Do I? Now, hold on. We always hear, you know, we've had police, and I've got a lot of police that are friends, but DPS folks down there call up and, you know, make horrible statements on our answering machines and things and admit who they are and give their phone numbers because they're so self-righteous that we would even talk about them as the lowest level of the New World Order rubber meeting the road. And they say, love it or leave it. No. America's a country where you get involved, where you strive. Our country's been overturned by private financial interests that make their money through controlling government. And I'm going to expose it, so is the Senate, with Senate Report 93-549, and I want my form of republic back. I want this government, this rule of law back.
Right.
I don't like being micromanaged.
So your thing is involvement and not bashing? Is that what you're trying to promote?
Well, we endlessly hear the so-called political pundits say over and over, this Democrat's being an attack dog, this Republican's being an attack dog.
Okay.
Back when this country was free, or any other free country had some segments that were free, they had soapboxes in the streets. You talked about politics and religions. You fought City Hall. But they put it out in the culture on radio and then TV and print. You can't fight City Hall, death and taxes. You don't talk about politics and religion. You're damn right I'm pissed off about the government being controlled by private interest and then telling me that big government gets those rich guys when really it's what they want. I'm giving them a bigger club to hit me in the head with. You bet I'm mad. You're allowed to get mad. This is what translates with humans. We're mammals. You're supposed to act like this. This is why I've gotten so much attention with the documentation. Not because I go, yes, you're right. No, the arteries are congealing as the blood flows slower.
Right.
This is how you're supposed to telegraph a warning to the people.
Now, but is there another place that you would rather live?
I've thought about trying to leave the country, and frankly, it's a new world order. Oh, I know it's a conspiracy. They talk about it every night on C-SPAN, and it's in the newspapers. World government this, UN criminal court that, power over our courts, no juries, just judges. You know, there's no such thing here. They don't put out publications, and they're not totally taken over. You know, what's the point? Number one, it's not about me. What are you going to do about Senate Report 93-549? Are you going to go read it?
Yes, sir. And that's why I'm a minor in government right now, just trying to understand how this
Oh, well, they'll tell
works.
you you're an expert if you believe in the Keynesian economics and the left-right paradigms, the ultra-left, the ultra-right. It's all false. It's command and control on one end and anarchy on the other, and anarchy's impossible. It has no governmental, that is a gravitational pull in the body politic. Power takes in more power upon itself. And that is big government, and we're always being drawn towards that. We need to pull as hard as we can away from it, never attaining the goal of anarchy, which is not my goal because it's just as bad.
Right.
It's impossible in groups of bigger than 5 to 10 people.
So you believe more in the Machiavelli approach where, you know, power rules?
It's not what I believe, and it's not what the prince says. It's what they're implementing, and yes, that's their Bible.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Good talking to you. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yes.
Given all the facts and the documents that you have seen, like on the urban warfare, the soft money bag, as Americans, what are we going to see in the future to come?
It's the future you make. Are you able to proactively resist? The moment you give up is the moment they've won personally with you. You must resist and know we're going to win, that we're going to wake people up, we're going to deprogram the population, that presidents are just puppets, that our country's already in martial law, that they're not going to declare it and tell us, but there are Senate reports and the symptoms all around us with the checkpoints and the searches and the prison industry is the second biggest thing in this country now. That's another piece of evidence. It's growing almost as fast as the internet. 2.3 million people in prison now. They say it's going to be 33 million in a few years. It's gone up 1 million in the last 9 months.
Well, in your opinion, what can you say would be the worst scenario that we are going to face?
That we incrementally continue to fry in this matrix, or that the feds start blowing up federal buildings like Hitler and like the Russians are doing right now to their people. It's even in their newspapers, for God's sake. That's why Vladimir Putin's taking over Garanovsky's different news systems. That's even in United Press International. The Russian secret police were caught blowing up apartment buildings last year. They're doing it again now, and so Putin takes over the newspapers that report the truth that Moscow police arrested FSB members. It's on Infowars.com right now.
And how can we take a stance on the soft?
Do you understand the feds blew up Oklahoma City to blame it on patriots, to push their police state, and to get the idiots in government to circle the wagons thinking the people did that to them? I'm sorry, go ahead. He hung up. What's going to happen? What? It's up to you, sir. I'm not that important. Damn it, the evidence is there. I mean, here's the headline right here. Where is that? God, if you only looked at all the foreign news wires like I do. Moscow bombing could strengthen police state agencies. Damn it, the FSB, the successor to the former KGB, is blowing stuff up again. Good Lord, this is out of Moscow Times. Whoa! And Putin is seizing newspapers and television stations that report the truth. Now, there's your crater that's non-existent. Oh, that building was blown in? Yeah, sure. Okay, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex.
Yes.
Yes, I like what you're doing. I've been knowing this type of stuff been going on for a long time now. And I've been locked up, I say, about 2 or 3 years ago. And I've been reading a lot on what's been going on. A lot of people in prison really do know what's going on out here, but they're all incarcerated at this time.
Yeah, 1 out of 10 letters I get are from federal prison. People are in there listening.
Yeah, and I knew that Oklahoma City bombing was done undercover by our own people.
They're not our people, though. Remember that. We've got to get, it's not our government doing all this. It's a takeover government. It's an occupational government.
Yeah. But how do I go, and as we're all going to do as a whole, to group up together and try to stop this thing?
Sir, you could become famous. You could become a leader. You could merge black men with white men and then everybody else to fight the New World Order and get out of this Klan, Black Panther stuff, which are all federally controlled. And you could just get hardcore, educate yourself, get fluent on the issues, start having meetings. Anybody that talks about blowing stuff up, you grab them, you call the police, it'll be a fed, you'll never see them again. Get hardcore, get an Access TV show, call into radio shows, get a co-op radio show, just get into the avenues, put a website up. Pirate radio's exploding right now.
Okay, also, they talk about a lot of things about the credit card and how they are able to track you down and stuff with the credit card anywhere you go. Now, how do I go by as an individual?
Well, remember, you haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
You are innocent until proven guilty. You have a right to not be tracked and traced like a rat. And at the same time, you look at a government that's wanting to do things like this, you got a problem. There are some of the pirate stations, and I want to talk about them later. 90.1 North Austin, 95.9 South Austin, 97.1 Central Austin, 91.7 in Fredericksburg. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, also, I've just really started picking up your radio station, 90.1, but now it seems like it's getting distorted. It's kind of hard for me to pick it up now.
That's not my radio station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's also 97.1 that's kind of socialist, but they're trying to do good. And people are just doing this. Folks do pick me up off the satellite, and they dial around and pick up different syndicated shows, so we don't scramble my show. What part of town do you live in?
North Austin.
I mean, North's giant. What area north?
Basically northeast of Rumberg.
Northeast off Rumberg. I really don't know. I don't even know who runs that station.
Yeah.
90.1.
Okay. But I also enjoy your internet, Infowars.com.
Well, brother, what's your name?
David Griffin.
Well, oh, David, I didn't want your full name, and the reason I was asking where you live, not your exact place. I'm not trying to get your information, is to find out why you couldn't hear that. But we're not sure even where that station's at, but it seems to be good up in that area in North Austin. Sir, just become a leader, you know, and people might laugh at you at first, doesn't matter. Come down here, get an Access TV show, have an audience of 10,000. You could have it instantly. I mean, Janet Reno flew here to talk to 2,000 bureaucrats at UT as they fawned after. I mean, you can come up and talk to 10,000 Austinites who really matter.
Yeah.
We need you as a leader, sir.
All right, we appreciate the time.
Hey, listen, everybody needs you as a leader, and God bless. You take care. Good talking to you. You're on the air, caller.
Yeah, I wanted to know what you thought about, you know, the Illuminati powers that be, say, creating genetic weapons, i.e. the chupacabra, things like that, and sending it out into the world against us.
Well, I don't know. I got Reuters and BBC News reports. The Ministry of Defense is spending tens of billions a year in England successfully developing race-specific bioweapons. And here in this country, in last year's defense appropriations, they transferred lethal sarin, nerve gas, and other agents to the Department of Justice.
I mean,
and in U.S. Code, you ready to write this down?
Yeah.
Title 50.
Title 50.
Chapter 32.
Chapter 32.
Subsection 1,520A.
Okay. 1,520A. 520A.
Paragraph B.
Paragraph B.
They talk about how we're not allowed to use chemical and biological weapons on the American people, or any other power for that matter. But here are the exceptions. To use them on the American people for any law enforcement purpose, including crowd control. And that's the U.S. Code. And then in last year's 1059 Senate bill, I shouldn't be smiling about this, it's just so incredible, Section 1084 transferred lethal chemical weapons from defense to justice.
So could they perhaps be using this in other places, testing it there first?
Well, we know that that evil demon Saddam Hussein, who I'm really no fan of, was given just hundreds of metric tons of it by the U.S. during the Iran-Iraq War. That's public knowledge for 7 years in the 80s.
Yeah.
And Kamassia bunker complex was full of it, and young GIs got footage of it. We've aired it here.
That's crazy.
They just nerve gassed a bunch of Kurds.
That's insane. I don't know.
It's pretty bad, but I mean, globalist power chieftains empires have always been killing people. It's the nature of terror.
Yeah.
It's the nature of their business. Think of being at the top power scale with all these other sociopaths around you, how dangerous that is.
God.
Only they must kill at the top just to prove their power to the lowers. And they must kill some of their own people routinely just to keep everybody else afraid and in line.
Yeah, but that could reach so far. That could be aliens. That could be everything. All these sightings, everything.
Yeah, but you see, that is another enemy propaganda. You look at Fox, and they'll allow the X-Files, and it's all aliens. FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, is evil, but it's aliens. Well, some people have fun editing that on other shows, I'm sure. The point, I'll give them ideas now, that's fine too. What we're talking about here is, what they do is, they'll throw out on the X-Files, the Federal Emergency Management Agency says this. They could be evil. You're seeing it on a TV show on Fox. But next, it's aliens controlling FEMA. I can have the document showing FEMA can put every man, woman, and child in a forced labor camp. The Senate can have it out warning you. We can have all the documents and video of camps on TV for you. And then actually rounding folks up in Seattle after they created the crisis. But it won't matter because people saw it on X-Files attached to aliens, which is pure bull. Not that I'm saying that couldn't be, but where's my proof? When I've got what I call meat and potatoes, real things happening, the Russians blowing up their own buildings and blaming it on their political enemies and getting caught by Moscow police, the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing.
Right.
See, that's the part about even an evil pyramidal system with the top-down structure. Even in Russia, the average cop on the beach's not evil. He may be a little corrupt, but when he catches guys planting bombs in an apartment complex and arrest them in their FSB, he still brings them in.
So there's no escape.
There is escape. Just like those good cops in Russia arrested the equivalent of their CIA, their FSB, the new KGB, new name, same people, same agents, down to a T, blowing up buildings last year and blaming it on political dissonance.
But how many of our cops are likely to do the same thing when so many of them want to be part of it?
I will agree that at many levels, it's hard to believe, America used to be much freer and much more pure. Some of our cops are probably more evil than a Moscow cop. But I don't know if our KGB is more evil than their FSB. There, they like to keep the public real nice and sweet and happy and docile and domesticated, marching off to a gulag saying, boy, I was bad. Here, we'd be griping the whole way, might even know about the gulag, which they're building all over in the future, but it wouldn't matter because we wouldn't do anything.
I know.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. They're so far up on us, there's no way to get, I don't know.
Oh, no, there is. Believe me, people are waking up. I can't, look, for you, people who probably don't know you, it's not a face. I can't go to a movie theater, to a store, down the street. Everybody stops me. Everybody talks to me. And I'm just one little person fighting on Access Television and on now about 67 radio stations.
All right. Keep fighting the war, brother.
Appreciate that call.
All right.
That's right. And we are cruising ahead. Again, just picked up a station in Tampa, Florida today. You can hear it in Tampa and St. Petersburg. God, I never knew I'd be. That's just so awesome. Thank God for it. That's right. The truth sells. People are hungry for it, and they're getting it. And the mere fact that I'm on the radio and all these other libertarian and conservative hosts, even some liberals that are waking up, are getting the information out. You see the phony left and phony right finally merging at these conferences and everything. We're going to win. I got to leave in a minute. Go ahead.
Why couldn't the argument be made for thumb scanners just as it is for guns, that they could also be used properly as opposed to improperly? Maybe the scanner itself is not evil. Why can't the scanner be used to prevent identity theft, which is one of the major problems we're facing right now?
But you know the government could replace or...
Right, they're ready for me. Let's go. Come over and get the
Hold
pretty
on,
little red
Mike.
light.
I told Mike to start at 10 minutes before the end because I got to go get on the radio, but I'm going to go ahead and stay on for about 5 more and finish these calls. Look, it would be nice if we were all encased in styrofoam and could never have another wreck again. It's nice to see everybody wearing helmets when they ride their bikes, but you lose the feeling of freedom, that on the edgeness that is human. And it's those that control the government are putting toxins in the vaccines, dumbing down the population, putting grasshopper genes in tomatoes, deadly Ritalin to a third of the males now in school. All of this, funding Hitler, funding Stalin, financial Chase Manhattan, Citibank, all of these people give them the power to manipulate and micromanage, and making it the law that you have to thumb scan. If I want a thumb scan, let me, but don't make me. You
I
understand?
agree with that.
Plus, did you know they can make fake thumbprints, make fake fingerprints off a digital thumb scan? Off a finger scan? Did you know that?
No.
Did you ever think about a digital signature, how they can put that wherever they want? How you go into now a store and you do a digital signature, a digital photo? Did you know they can, 12 years ago, you'll see an old show, I'll say 10 years ago, but now it's really been 12 years. They admit they can computer morph an entire news show, and it be fake, literally wagging the dog.
Oh, sure, that's been possible for years.
Yes. So we're entering the realm of total mind control. And let me tell you what's at the core of it, sir. The enemies of freedom, the commanding controllers, they want the life-extending technologies for themselves. They want them for themselves. They're testing everything else out on us. But to be able to live 400, 500 years, which they say will be capable of doing in 20 years for a 40-year-old male if he hasn't torn himself up, or female, with hormone replacements, with brain grafts, with cloning. They're already cloning humans in England. Did you hear that on the news? It's all over the British news. They just accelerated light times 300. Did you know about that?
No.
Yeah, it's all over the BBC, all over, scan the news wires. Been on a few things here in the U.S. The real stuff isn't news anymore, but OJ is 5 years later. They want to have the life-extending technology for themselves, but to do that, they have to create a parallel system where they're up here, we're mesmerized with television, soon to be wireheads, hooking into all these digital pleasures, all of this. Then they can start exterminating most of us. The UN openly says this. Prince Philip wants to come back reincarnated as a virus in one of his books. These are sickos. The Georgia Guidestones, they're all saying it. They're publications, so the earth will live. Been in an airplane, there's plenty of land, bud.
Do you not feel that this incites people to do like the guy in Kyle, Texas that shot a cop because he felt it was unconstitutional to give him a ticket for
So what I say, we better burn books because they might, we better burn the Constitution. Have you read the Declaration of Independence?
Years ago.
He has turned loose hordes of officers to eat out our substance and erected a multitude of bureaucracies. That's basically what it says. My God, burn it now. Burn it immediately. Look, sir, I got to say something to you. Yeah, the gentleman that was, the officer that was shot and killed, I really feel for him. But that old man was being harassed for 18 months. We've interviewed the neighbors. He allowed DPS to hunt on his property. It was they wanted his property, not the DPS, but in a Kyle the constables had. But see, I'm saying things, talking about freedom and saying stand up. So maybe I should be hauled off. I'm inciting problems, saying stand up for freedom. Be a free human. Enjoy the technology. have access to reality-based information. My God, we might not be safe. A lordly officer was shot and killed. He's better than us. I'm sad that officer died, but am I not being reverent enough for you right now? Is something wrong if you learn to adore that centurion? Love that centurion. His life is worth 10 times what your life is. Man, I'm out here. I don't get paid to be up here right now, to get the death threats, to get attacked, all the rest of this stuff. You think I care? I don't. Why did the cop pull over? Because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Why was he violating a free human being's right to travel? I think it's wrong the cop got shot, but it was wrong that old man was getting harassed by the developers who wanted his property in Kyle. Well, was it bad for a black man when he was enslaved on the plantation to grab the axe handle back and bash master's brains out? Was that officer evil? No, probably not. Did he deserve what happened? No, but why haven't they released the videotape that all the DPS have in their cars, the little microphone they've got on their tie? Where is the tape? They always release it other times. And why did they report the first few days the officer hadn't fired? Now we find out he fired twice. The old guy fired once. What happened? Did I have a cop pull a gun out and put it to the back of my head one time, pull me over by my house because he saw a weight belt in my car when he pulled me over? Did I almost get my head blown off? What about Pedro, Oregon in Houston? Got shot 12 times in the back, the wrong house, on his bed, laying down when the cops came in. One of them jerked and killed him. Yeah, the DA in Houston laughed. Yeah, he's dead, dead. He's dead, 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 dead. We're not worth what you are, huh? How dare you? You talk about freedom. A cop might get shot. I tell you what, cops keep trying to confiscate guns. They keep trying to run checkpoints. They keep acting like Nazis. More of that's going to happen. Not from me. Cop says, I want to see your papers. I'll say, okay, here's an old paper. I'll deal with it in court. Officer, are you violating your oath to the Constitution? Don't you want your children to grow up in a free country, officer? That's how I would talk to him. They want police and the people against each other. They want to drive that wedge between us. Cops go to school, go to church, go to all the places we do, go to the, wherever, to the mall, to the movies. They're human beings. They're being conditioned just like we are. We're all in the same boat. It's not us against them. But I tell the police it's dangerous to be their minions. All right, let's go ahead and go to some more of the thumb scan. Dangerous stuff, man. We don't want to be part of an illegal national ID card. Oh, my goodness. People, oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the federal, I'll be back tomorrow from 4:30 to 6 on Channel 10, and Mike will be back at midnight to 1:30 tonight with Lance and America Now for some great information. Midnight tonight, Channel 10. See you, folks. Register Bill Clinton. Urine and blood testing plan for you. Tell your friends about it. We have got to stand against this. The states are preparing to implement this plan. This is not a joke. This is not the entire document. It gets worse. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a joke to them. Only Coach Penders matters. Only diversions like Rome, the gladiators. If I don't take this, will I not be penalized for not having a driver's license, by not being able to cash a check, by being given tickets that if I don't pay those tickets, I'll be taken to jail. I can't travel out of state. I can't get on board an airplane. And the media is talking about thumb scanning to travel. You're working with the foreign banks and the military-industrial complex. This is all their idea. Read the Military War College from 1968. They planned this. Just because you lay around doesn't mean it's not true. This is not a publicity stunt. I was a lot happier years ago before I got into all this garbage. I'm sick of sheep laying down. I wish you'd get up and do something. Makes me want to vomit. Our forefathers went to World War II and World War I and fought in the Civil War to end slavery, and it means nothing to y'all. We're a bunch of yellow-belly weaklings. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people laying down like a bunch of jellyfish and rationalizing what's going on. People ought to be ashamed of themselves.
My brother's a cop.
Gold star in the arm and be quiet.
Yes, exactly.
Now look very carefully at Mike Cox. He is head public information officer for all of Texas for the DPS. They weren't going to arrest me, but about 15 minutes into the protest, he showed up and things changed dramatically. He walked up, stared at me, turned, walked back to the back. They had a little meeting together, and then they came and arrested me.
If you do not leave now, I will be forced to arrest you.
Sir, I'm here to get a driver's license. I have never had a criminal record. It's time to go. Here I go. Get my stuff for me.
45 patients.
Yes, sir.
Doing your job. I guess that makes you a mercenary, huh? Paid mercenaries, huh?
Got the black gloves on.
Yeah, he's got his black gloves on. I guess that makes him tough. I guess that makes him look like a real well-paid mercenary there.
Let's do a show tonight.
Hey! Yeah, they're pushing everybody. They're pushing it. It's getting ridiculous here.
All my tax dollars pay for this building.
Yeah, he's got a couple of tags.
Okay, folks, it's Mike Hanson. Sorry to interrupt you here. We're busy in here. As you can see, we got editing going on, previewing over here, and we need your help to keep this rolling. We would love for you to send in $25, and I will send you back a signed copy of my book, Bohemian Grove, Cult of Conspiracy. It was forwarded by Tex Mars that just recently passed away, and it's fastly becoming a classic because there's not going to be any more Tex Mars. And that's when we snuck in back in the year 2000, the Bohemian Grove. There's Alex and myself when we were younger. Must be nice. And just, if you would, just send in your money and where you want it sent to our address here in Gonzales, Texas at 901 St. Joseph Street, Gonzales, Texas. If you want to call us here at 830-672-3089. Thanks a lot and God bless, and continue to subscribe to our YouTube channels here, Mike Hanson Archives, and our newest one, Waco Archives. Thanks a lot and God bless, and we'll let you get back to your classic viewing here on YouTube.